Lights rise on the charming, well-appointed Montclair, New Jersey home of Matthew McCarthy and his wife of many years, Faith Vergarati. We see a backdrop of a wall with the front door to the house and two rooms separated by a wall with a swinging door. The rooms are rarely illuminated at the same time. Stage right is a living room dining room with two wooden stacking chairs, a small sofa, a secretary piled high with books, and a folding table against the wall, which will be open during the evening. There is also a door that leads to a powder room. On the other wall is a sound system with some LPs displayed, including the Beatles' White Album. Stage left, behind the other wall, is a kitchen with counter and stove to the back. Matthew, late 50s and slightly academic in his looks, enters from the kitchen in a rush with Faith, in her early 50s and quite pretty, close behind.
No, no, no. Sorry, let me rephrase that. No.
Don't be irrational.
Irrational? Self-preservation is the quintessence of rational behavior. Ask Freud. No, better still, ask Custer.
Self-preservation? That's a rat escaping a sinking ship, leaving me to face everything all
good
of myself.
point, my dear. So here's an alternative to your surprise dinner plans. What if we flee the premises, repair to the quaint local bistro, and put this unfortunate incident behind us?
That's ridiculous. We can't leave now. Paul will be here any minute.
And if we're not here when he arrives, he'll go away. And later we'll just say that we wrote down the wrong date. An honest mistake. Like St. Peter missing Christ's crucifixion. Oh, I thought it was next Friday.
So you're going to slink off on one of your trademark long walks that'll coincidentally finish just as Paul is about to leave?
I haven't slinked in years. Or is it slunk?
You're going to stay, and you're going to gut it out because you're not a coward. And
I tell you this, my friends. All men are cowards. They dislike a fact, except when it is so wrapped up in...
your fancy quotations for your hapless drowning in debt students. They should see their hero now, also drowning in debt.
I'll include this incident in my lecture on fight-flight syndrome.
Matthew, tesoro, we haven't seen Paul in ages.
I follow him on Instagram. I even tap in the occasional like after sneaking a peek at one of his spectacular Seminole sunsets. Or are they sunrises? Anything below the Mason-Dixon line confuses me. And I skim his hideous books. How to make money off the coming apocalypse. Navigating the Armageddon yield curve. Frack and ruin.
Oh, stop it. Those are not Paul's book titles. Well, check that. Not Paul's best-selling book titles. It's been almost 2 years since we connected in person. We are talking about your brother.
Abel was Cain's brother.
You were close.
Romulus and Remus were close, like that. Then Remus's wife scheduled a convivial dinner and...
Oh, Mother Mary of God, stop joking. Back in New York, when things looked really bad, who visited you in the hospital every day? Not your so-called other friends.
Yes. But Paul does have certain fine qualities. But so did Pol Pot. Great around kids.
Matteo.
Yes, all right. We used to be close.
More than close. You love your brother.
Used to. But being in the same room with him ever since, you know.
Cut it out, Matthew.
Well, no, you cut it out, Faith. Now, why did you invite him without asking me? Remember that last Thanksgiving dinner disaster? It was like the Baton Death March without the fragrant basmati rice.
I didn't invite him. I answered my phone and he told me that he was passing through New York and wanted to see us. Look, it's only dinner. He'll be on his best behavior. No arguments, he promised. And he said he'd agree to anything if I would just cook for him.
Impossible. Paul is an argument addict.
And you're not.
Yeah, all right. Yes, I argue with others, but Paul gets into heated arguments when there's nobody else in the room. He argues in the shower. He argues with the shower. Keeps honing his rants until they reach a level of repulsiveness that makes normal people want to hide in the closet. That's it, the closet. You've been after me to go through my clothes for goodwill, so why don't I...
He heads to the living room with her in pursuit.
Don't you dare leave me alone with him.
Better you than I. Or is it me?
It better not be me.
Okay, I've got an idea. Why don't you duck into the closet too? Huh? There's plenty of space. We can hunker down like the French in Vichy and wait for this whole thing to blow over. And then pretend it never happened.
No, we are never rude to family.
He might prefer it if we leave or hide. He gets along better with people when they're not actually there.
Matthew, he's your brother, our old singing partner, and I never get to sing anymore. Come on, it'll be fun. He won't talk about their guy. Those are my ground rules. Under this roof, between these four walls.
Isn't it among these four walls?
Oh, whatever. Here, he does not say that name out loud, ever. And in return, we don't say the other name either, the good name, you know, the progressive name. Our guy's name.
You mean the one he calls the Magic Canyon? And he agreed to this? Impossible. Not being able to say the name of that suppurating, pestilential pustule on Pennsylvania Avenue every 30 seconds will eliminate 90% of his conversation. What will that leave us to talk about?
Family, baseball, the human condition, or our publishing business. He's an author, you're an author.
He's an author the same way Deepak Chopra is an author. He diligently assembles rectangular objects bearing a startling resemblance to actual books. And yes, they do contain big words, but so does the Weed Whacker service manual.
Gosh, forget all that, Matthew. Think of how much fun it'll be when you start to sing. Because we are going to sing. We'll drink and we'll eat and then we'll sing. Come on. You always talk about wanting to be your best self.
That's aspirational, like taking up the hammered dulcimer.
At Thanksgiving, every year in front of the kids and the cousins and all those 40 other people you make me invite, we all bow our heads and we start to cry when you recite that prayer by Robert Louis Stevenson. How does it go?
Purge out of every heart the lurking grudge. Offenders, give us the grace to accept and to forgive offenders.
Well, è miracolo. Your prayers are answered. Today is the day of the Great Purgation.
Will the Great Purgation take place before or after the goat cheese salad? Look, Faith, you seem to forget how Paul must in every situation just
Dad?
all.
No, I sang with the two of you for years. I know Paul. Darling, I know the wonderful Paul, the not so wonderful Paul, and the massively annoying first-class jerk Paul, but he misses you. You're a matched set. Come on, the magnificent McCarthy brothers.
Wow, makes us sound iconic.
Well, you were. You are. To me. Hmm?
I have to get something.
No.
Matthew exits, retreating backwards into the kitchen.
No! Mother of God.
She gathers herself and opens the door. Paul, early 60s and dressed very stylishly, is standing there. He holds a bottle of wine, but nonetheless throws open his arms and twirls Faith around.
Faith! I missed you, I missed you, I missed you. Oh, Faith, how I missed you.
I am so glad you came, Paul. I can't tell you.
Ah, me too, sister. Yo también, hermana.
Paul retreats to the front door and speaks to someone outside.
Come in. Come in, darling. Entra en la casa de mi hermana, querido.
Candy Cruz, 30s, Latina, and stunning, enters. They all stand for a moment in complete silence.
Faith, this is my beautiful friend Candy. Candy Cruz, this is my beautiful sister-in-law, Faith Vergaretti McCarthy.
Candy, welcome.
We were in the city together and we thought we'd, just...
Hey, I hope it's okay. It's so nice to meet you. Encantada. Vergaretti is Italiana. Chic.
We figured a surprise would be nice.
Oh, you were always about fun, Paul. Fun, fun, fun.
Well, till Daddy took the T-bird away.
Come in, please.
If you're Irish, come into the parlor. There's a welcome there for you. And if you're Italian or a Latino, there's a sweet, dear welcome there for you, too. Where's my baby brother? Did he make a break to the Canadian border?
No, he'll be right out.
What's he doing? Putting the finishing touches on one of those books that nobody ever reads?
Matthew enters with a bottle of wine.
Maddie! Maddie! Hey!
What's this about books? Are you planning to read one this year?
Faith pinches Matthew's arm from behind as Paul and Matthew hug. Candy inspects the room. Paul gives him a bear hug. Matthew goes limp, disembracing quickly.
I cannot believe we are finally entering the new sanctuary. What an honor. Should we take off our shoes, our socks? There are hazmat available so that we don't contaminate anything.
You're wild. You're just so wild. Isn't it wild?
Oh, wild as the wind. Maybe wilder.
I love all the white. Un paradiso blanco.
Well, it was that way when we moved in. Someday we'll get around to painting the place.
Matthew crosses over to Candy. Paul walks over to the record collection and picks up the White Album.
Oh, was this my copy of the White Album? Looks like it. My baby brother, always appropriating other people's property, just like the government. Sorry, my little joke.
Hi, I'm Matthew.
I'm Candy Cruz, with a Z. Actually, Candelaria, my grandmother's name.
Candelaria. That's beautiful. Wait, wasn't there a baseball player by that name? Played for the White Sox?
Pirates.
My name is from the Latin word candela, meaning candle, my mother's idea. In fact, I was born on the Feast of the Purification of the Virgin, the day they blessed the candles.
The purification of the Virgin? But wait, isn't purifying a virgin redundant? I mean, given our family background and connections.
Idiot, the priest blesses the candles and the family keeps them lit so the Blessed Mother will protect us.
Naturalmente! Look, we already have something in common, the one true church.
Dios mío, sí. And just like a candle, this one lights up the room. Oh yeah, I got the right girl at the right time with the right frame of mind.
In the right-wing women are sexier.
Sexier than right-wing men? Absolutely.
I think of you as more right-leaning than right-wing, querida. Labels limit people, right? This one, very complex. Libertarian, free market conservative, that is true conservative. Lots going on up there.
Mm-hmm. Small government, big heart.
Oh, corazón, mucho corazón. Or is it muy?
Paul, politics, you agreed.
Hey, don't you worry about a thing. Lots of other things we can talk about. I explained today's ground rules to Candy, the covenant, if you will, and how I made this promise to Faith that neither of us is going to mention certain names. As our president says, there's nothing more important than keeping promises. See, I didn't say his name.
Our president? What you mean our, Kimosabi?
Isn't referring to the president political, Paul? No names, you promised.
No names. But you do accept that he is our president and that he rules from sea to shining sea.
Viva el presidente, viva el presidente.
Or, as Faith likes to call him, Il Duce.
You're not electoral college deniers, are you?
Stop. I mean it, just stop. Oh, I see that you brought us some good Italian vino. How about a drink?
Do you have any bourbon? I like it neat and well-aged.
Oh, neat and well-aged, just like Paul.
Going full bore liberal here and having red wine, Maddie. You need to taste this one. I have to admit, blue states do have some awfully good wines. California, Oregon, New Jersey.
Enters the kitchen laughing at his own joke.
Corkscrew?
Faith follows. Lights dim in the living room and rise in the kitchen, where Paul takes the corkscrew and starts to open his bottle as Faith gets glasses.
Did you tell him what we talked about?
No, it has to come from you. Paul, just find a way to work it into the conversation. See? He'd be doing you a favor. Otherwise, it's a no-go.
Matty is liberal. He's not stupid.
Just try it my way, Paul, please. Just stick with the plan and your promise, please.
Faith, I always said Matty was a very lucky man.
Well, and part of that luck is having you as his brother.
He toasts her with the open bottle as lights dim on them and come up again on the living room.
Such a lovely neighborhood. Paul said that you lived here for a while.
Oh, not that long. We downsized when we became empty nesters.
Empty nester, such a sad word, such a sad concept. Que tristeza.
Well, we keep ourselves amused.
Oh, and how do you amuse yourselves in the empty nest? Hmm?
You'll have to ask Faith about that one. Now, where is that bourbon?
Starts to move toward the kitchen, but Candy puts a hand on his arm and slides past him.
I'll get it.
Just as she is about to go through the swinging door, Paul re-enters, holding a tray with a bottle and 2 glasses of red wine. They share a kiss while gliding by each other. The lights switch again to reveal the kitchen and leave the living room in the dark. As Candy enters, Faith is holding a glass of bourbon, which she presents to her.
Perfect. I hope this isn't an imposition.
No, not at all.
She continues packing a tray with hors d'oeuvres.
In the house I grew up in, unexpected guests were always expected.
I'd offer to help, but La Cocina is not my native habitat.
Oh, no, that's fine. Everything's under control.
Hmm.
So far.
The lights dim there and switch to the living room, where Paul and Matthew simultaneously swirl, sniff, and sip their glasses of wine.
What is this? It's good.
Amarone. Amarone della Valpolicella Classico. Best wine in the world.
Says who?
The Conoscenti, Matty.
Oh, right. The Cognoscenti. Those guys.
He calls you Maddie? That's so sweet.
Oh, not that sweet. He does it because it annoys him.
And what do you call him in return?
Daddy's big regret. The bringer of darkness. Droopy drawers. That was our mother's childhood nickname for Paul.
Matthew?
Still sharp, my little brother. Could have been a contender.
Contending for what?
Moving right along. How did you two meet?
Oh, we both worked on the president's campaign.
Oh, right. The president.
The president. So, you do acknowledge that he won. Progress. Because the last time we communicated, there was a bizarre stigmatization process floating around. And it's still out there. Why, just the other day, the president was
The
saying...
aforementioned Il Duce. bag.
Second warning. I'm going to get you to start singing instead of bickering. Singing, you understand? No politics. La 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 la.
Worried you're going to explode.
She's worried you're going to explode.
Faith knows better. Self-control comes naturally to me.
Seriously? Well, gee, Paul, I think we're going to have to cut you off from the Amarone della Valpolicella Classico right now. Because reviewing the greatest hits in your personal history of self-control, we'll have to include your kicking me out of your house on Christmas Day because I questioned the efficacy of mixing echinacea with vodka. Vodka.
At the time, Candy, people were worried about mucus deposits spontaneously turning into the flu. So people on the left started taking echinacea straight up, which never worked. While conservatives took echinacea with a chaser, which worked wonders. But Maddie insisted that echinacea should never be mixed with alcohol, because that's what the CDC said. Clowns.
Refresh my memory. Where was it that you got your medical degree?
A report in the North American Journal of Enlightened Homeopathy proved that untreated mucus deposits claim 20,000 lives a year, maybe more.
Are we already on the echinacea? Congratulations, boys. 7 minutes and 13 seconds before you broke down and mentioned those deadly mucus deposits. A new personal record. Now, why don't you turn those competitive juices into something positive, like finding some sheet music?
Your rap sheet also includes pulling over to the side of the road on the Jersey Turnpike and insisting that I get out and hitchhike in a raging hailstorm in February, 3 in the morning.
As I recall, you were threatening to hit me over the head with a softball bat while I was driving. And they were tiny hailstones.
You two are wild. Aren't they wild?
Yes, born to be wild.
Oh, you should have seen him standing up on the dining room table at our parents' house 30 years ago, waving his library card and lecturing us on the true meaning of the word liberal being connected to the Latin liber, for book, which is wrong, by the way.
I was joking.
All in defense of...
Puts his hand on his chest and starts to struggle.
It's okay to say that name, even though I don't like hearing it very much. Dukakis,
Who is Dukaka?
famous Bay State tank commander.
Paul, are you okay?
Suddenly, Paul appears to be having a heart attack.
This
He
is what
wobbles
happens
over to a chair.
whenever...
Christ, are you okay?
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, baby, breathe. Focus on your breath. Pranayama, left nostril, left nostril.
Candy tries to help him close one nostril, but he shakes himself away from her and rises from the chair, only to stagger to the kitchen door like Frankenstein's monster, where he supports himself against the doorframe, tenses his body, and then relaxes and turns back to them.
Oh. Gas. Acid reflux. My herbal supplement is supposed to... sorry. Happens without warning, and I always think I'm going to have a heart attack. One day it will be a heart attack.
Maybe gas and a heart attack? Get your money's worth, bro. I'd buy a ticket to see you go up in flames, like Brunhilde in Götterdämmerung. Talk about flamboyant.
Hopefully you'll be right there at my side, locked in one final fraternal embrace. Excuse me, the bathroom's where?
Paul exits through the bathroom door, stage right.
Oh, mi corazón. So, you teach college?
Part-time. Mostly I write. We run a small publishing house.
Very small. You can barely see it.
And you do?
Faith manages the publishing operations.
I manage like it's going out of style.
We're a team.
Go team.
Must be great to be a team. But how does that work on a day-to-day basis?
He pitches, I catch.
A loud flush is heard, and then Paul exits the powder room. He closes the door with great ceremony.
That was fantastic. The best. Oh, I feel good. I knew that I would.
Please accept our congratulations, but could we skip the proctology report?
Why? If we feel good, what's wrong with spreading the news?
Spreading the news about your latest bowel movement?
Candy pats Paul's back.
Why not? No need to stick to the uptight liberal narrative. We're in a new age now where we can talk about anything, Maddie. Well, maybe not here in the politically correct demilitarized zone.
Watch it.
Harmless joshing.
I better check on the food. We're having your favorite dishes. Farro salad with fried cauliflower and prosciutto. Okay with you?
Oh, I eat everything. None of that vegetarian, low-fat, gluten-free crap for me.
Oh, she's omnivorous. Insatiable.
Seeing that Matthew is about to challenge Candy, Faith grabs his arm.
There's something I need you to do.
I can help.
Oh, no. You're the guest. Relax.
Faith and Matthew enter the kitchen. Candy and Paul stay in the living room.
Why didn't you tell them I was coming?
I thought I did. Well, maybe not. Innocent mistake?
I don't think so. I think you wanted to fuck with their minds.
Oh, not everyone is as diabolical as you, mi alma.
But you are. You're always fucking with people's minds. Fucking and fucking and fucking some more. No es verdad.
Oh, stop it. I'd never do that. Not with my family. We just like to mix it up a bit.
Triggering liberals. Yeah, fucking with them. Fucking, re-fucking. That's what you do. You're a mind fucker. A total fucking mind fucker.
No, I'm not. At least not here. Maddie and Faith are family. Seriously, my purpose is to persuade, not degrade. I love my brother.
They kiss, and a beat later, as the light goes down in the kitchen, Matthew enters with more hors d'oeuvres.
I'm going to get a refill. That's very good bourbon.
She exits to the kitchen. Paul takes some food and motions for Matthew to sit next to him, but Matthew keeps standing.
So how's that small but well-respected publishing house of yours?
Great. Fabulous. A few new books coming out. Promising titles. How about you?
Fantastic. Best year ever. Almost done with my new book, delineating a foolproof investment strategy in an economy where things just keep getting better and better.
Better than what?
Than before.
The economy's been booming for years.
Define booming.
What's going on in there?
Paul is teaching me the principle of economics.
Faith leads Candy, who is holding her refilled glass of bourbon, out of the kitchen.
We should sing before we eat. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
And maybe if we can't tell the truth about the economy, I think we'll also be singing after we eat.
Oh, but not while we eat, please. Does he still keep running his mouth with the food spilling out all over the place like Jabba the Hutt at Bob's Big Boy?
You two are really alike. You're so wild. Aren't they wild?
Ask me again after you spend an evening with them, or in my case, half a century.
But if I might just finish my thought on the economy, because the one indisputable fact in all of this is that somebody I know is getting the job done.
And what exactly is the job?
Managing the economy, job number one.
Oh, please, the last guy, deserves all the credit for that. He saved us from a second Great Depression. He did. The only job your guy ever managed was a hand job, and he had to pay for that.
Matthew?
What? Faith, don't you remember? We're living in a brave new world. We can talk about anything. Oh, literally anything. Bowel movements, hand jobs. That's what Paul says.
Just drop it, Matthew, please. And you too, Paul. Let's sing.
Faith gives the brothers some sheet music.
He started it.
Did not.
Oh, boy.
I simply asked how your boutique publishing house was getting along, and then he
That's something I quit proctoring homeroom years ago, boys.
I couldn't teach children. No way. Can't even be in the same room with them for 20 minutes. Their needs are inexhaustible.
And yet, you're with Paul.
Are you two going to pick fights with each other all evening? Come on. Okay. So what's a good harmony we all remember?
I mean, human beings are hardwired to fight, to compete. Scientifically, it's in our nature, and we shouldn't deny our nature. Our ancestors understood. They were hyper-aware of potential dangers lurking out there.
Like having your brothers unexpectedly drop by?
But the human race has evolved.
Isn't that just another progressive myth? The reality is, exactly like our ancestors, we see threats everywhere. Es la realidad. We smell them, we taste them, and when that happens, our lizard brain wants to rear up and strike.
Our lizard brain.
Biology rules. Es la realidad.
Biology? Faith taught that once upon a time. You two could discuss, I don't know, whether dinosaurs are more than 6,000 years old. Or climate change.
No, climate change is off the table. So is Medicare and taxes.
What do you do, Candy, besides making sure that Paul takes his serotonin?
I like the way you handle him. I could learn a few things. I'm a social media consultant.
Hey, too modest. University of Miami doctorate, international relations, and now she is a platinum level descent exterminator.
Ooh, that sounds positively evil. I like it. I'm going to add that to my LinkedIn profile.
Descent exterminator?
Meaning that if someone is concerned about what people are saying about them online, or if they're spreading quote unquote fake news, she steps in and obliterates them.
And how does she do, how do you do that?
Trade secret. No, it's simple. And I don't need any of those bots you're always hearing about. I work the trends and threads, influence the influencers. I merely supply words as ammunition and then watch the troops mow down the enemy.
You work for both sides?
I work for the side that pays the most for punishing the treasonous.
We should sing. Do you sing, Candy?
No, but I'm a terrific listener, so I'll just sit back and be the impartial judge.
Hey, it's not a competition, babe. That's not how music works. We sing harmony, armonia.
Por supuesto, but really everything is a competition, even when you pretend that it's not. That's basic biology. Es la realidad.
Fine. So let's get right into it with All You Need Is Love.
Oh, I love that song. Katy Perry, right?
No. Let's start with one of the old Irish ones that your mother just loved. I've been a wild rover for many a year.
And I spent all me money on whiskey and beer.
But now I'm returning with gold in great store, and I never will play the wild rover no more.
And it's no, nay, never.
No,
No,
nay,
nay,
never.
never,
No. No, wait, whoa. Paul. What part are you singing, Paul?
Was I supposed to sing the melody?
You actually used to sing like that in public. Madre Dios, why?
We were folk singers. This is a very famous folk song.
What was your group called?
Faith and Bigora. Get it? We were Bigora. Paul and I, and Faith was.
Yeah, she gets it. Hey, let's do something quintessentially American.
Okay.
I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? Coming for to carry me home.
Spiritual, yes. Oh, perdóname, I did not mean to say negro.
A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home.
Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet
chariot,
coming for to carry me
home. Are we flat?
Not to my ears.
That's about mine.
And maybe we should warm up a bit more.
Oh gosh, I have to check on the food.
She runs into the kitchen.
I'm going to pretend to help.
Isn't she great? No es la verdad? Having a girlfriend like her makes me want to live forever.
Girlfriend? What are you, still in high school?
Lady friend, significant other. No, I got it. Mi Cioletta.
One's a customer, pal. Which is it?
Inamorata. And get this, we're moving in together.
Ah, the classic Methuselah finesse. Well, good luck with that, old-timer, especially with that bum ticker of yours.
Light switch to the kitchen, where Faith maneuvers ingredients in and out of the saucepan. Candy leans in to watch.
Okay, I have to find the other saucepan. That's the big one. And I have to get the oil, and which has to get to 350 degrees. And then I come in here every 5 minutes and I switch out the batches.
You miss your career teaching?
High school biology? Are you kidding? For me, that wasn't a career. Being a mother, now that was a career. More like a sentence. Hard labor with no parole. No, I love my kids, really. But I don't miss raising them one bit.
So you're a stay-at-home mom.
Well, back then we just called it mom.
That must have been so nice, traditional, like on Mad Men. Did your progressive friends make you feel guilty about that?
Progressive friends? What does that mean?
I just read this study that said that stay-at-home moms are much more likely to experience sadness or anger or listlessness or suicidal impulses during the day than moms who work outside of the home making lots of money and building important careers. Was that true for you?
Well, it depended on the day, but I'm generally a happy person.
What would make you get angry or make you feel intensely suicidal?
You know, excuse me, I just have to get the prosciutto.
The lights shift, and we see that Paul and Matthew, both seated, are drinking wine.
The new book is going to be big. Everyone needs a new investment approach now that the new tax cut turned out to be so good for everybody.
Good in what sense?
In dollars and cents.
I think there are times when paying taxes is the proper thing to do.
Why? So some lazy bureaucrat can piss away your hard-earned money?
Paul, remember the rules of engagement Faith set down.
Faith isn't here. And this isn't politics.
I can hear you. Start warming up. Let me hear some lip trills and flutters. Bra, 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 bra.
I know a song that's perfect for tonight. Once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime?
Oh, that's keeping politics out of the conversation. Why not just go ahead and sing the Internationale?
Oh, I know that song. Stand up, all victims of oppression, for the tyrants fear your might. Don't cling so hard to your possessions, for you have nothing if you have no rights.
How do you know the words to the socialist anthem?
I learned it going undercover in college.
Isn't she amazing? She infiltrated these leftist groups filled with all of these googly-eyed, privileged trust fund kids, you know, like the ones you lecture to.
Privileged? You mean like white privileged? Wouldn't that term also describe the avaricious swine who turn up at your personal finance seminars? And another thing, nobody uses expressions like googly-eyed anymore. You sound like Spiro Agnew.
What are you talking about now?
Cognitive therapy?
Animal husbandry?
Let's talk about your wonderful kids. How are they doing?
Well, Beth is in her third year of teaching.
Smart girl. Retire at 40 and live off the rest of us for the next 50 years.
That said, a noble profession.
And Liz just finished nursing school in May.
Healthcare isn't going to go away, even if... Same boyfriend?
Yes, and still just a boyfriend.
This generation is slower to commit.
And Edward.
Oh, hey, good news there. He just joined this think tank that picked the last 3 Supreme Court justices. And now he's on this...
Guys, we're being rude, talking about family like this, leaving our guest on the sidelines.
Fine. Families fascinate me. La familia es muy importante, muy.
Well, tell us about yours.
Oh, I come from a strong Latino family. Lots of feminismo. A little too much right now. So we're taking some time off from each other to learn to have more respect for each other's life choices.
Ah, I'm sorry to hear that.
No, it's all good. Feminismo is too intense. You're not allowed to have your own beliefs. But I love the idea of families, especially other people's families.
I always thought of our friends as our extended family. They certainly showed up for Sunday dinner often enough. Don't you miss that?
Sunday dinner? Jesus, Paul, Mom died 18 years ago. That's about 1,000 Sundays. Sure, yeah, I still miss her. But her cooking? Are you nuts?
What I meant was, don't you miss those feelings of connection to our people?
I'm still connected.
Kind of the odd man out now when it comes to the people we grew up with.
The odd man out?
I'm just saying that within our constellation of friends, you are now an outlier because of your views about our current president.
What friends are you talking about? Your friends? Your friends? That would be the first 5 people that you meet in hell. And the next 5, too.
At least I have 5 friends.
Let's try another song. Oh, Shenandoah. That's your big number, Paul.
It's 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you.
They say I'm a born manager.
Faith hustles to the kitchen, switches the cauliflower for the next batch.
Donnie Dreyer was saying the same thing last week when I ran.
Donnie was your friend and an enormous asshole.
Wow, you really do speak your mind, not like some progressives. Bravo.
Donnie is my best friend, Matthew.
Goebbels was Hitler's best friend. No, maybe it was Goering. Hard to keep those guys straight.
I thought I was your best friend.
Oh, of course. You are the best of my best friends. Lo mayor de los mayores amigos.
Amigas, feminine.
Amigos. Amigo. Amago. Whatever. Que sera, sera.
That's Italian. Doris Day, 1955. Or was it 56? I don't know, but this conversation is silly. We have no way of knowing who our friends voted for.
Whom?
I do. I make it my business to find out where people stand. Ran into Pete Schroeder down in Boca and went right up and asked him.
And what did he say?
He was for him. He was all in.
Pete? That's ridiculous.
I only know what he told me.
What did he tell you? Let me hear it, verbatim.
I'll try to be precise, Professor. He said, Paul, when I got into that polling booth, I just couldn't bring myself to vote for her, not in good conscience.
But he didn't actually say that he voted for the foul fiend, did he? Maybe he did Voldemort as a write-in candidate. And maybe he was just humoring you, the way he pretended to enjoy Mom's Baked Alaska, which everybody hated.
Why would he humor me?
Because he knows how batshit you'd get if he disagreed with you.
Batshit? Why Hey, who's the one raising his voice here? Seeing you estranged from your own people, it breaks my heart, Maddie.
What heart? And who says I'm estranged?
Estranged from the people we grew up with. People who all understood what needs to happen to put our country back on track. Tommy Farrell, Billy Snyder, Mike Malloy.
Come on, didn't Billy Snyder die from pancreatic cancer before the last election?
Did he? Sorry to hear about that. But if he was still alive, knowing Billy, you know he'd vote for...
You are shameless. Gerrymandering the dead.
Well, what about Ed Mulligan? He was one of your closest friends. Mulligan voted for...
Sad but true. I've had to put that friendship on hold.
You're not friends with Ed anymore?
No, we're through.
Mickey McAuliffe?
On hold. There, I have hope.
Mientras haya vida, existe la esperanza. Where there is life, there is hope.
What about your old girlfriend, that Polish girl? What was her name? Monica?
Monica Petrowski.
You had a girlfriend named Monica Petrowski? Wild. Sexy blonde.
Oh, Monica is beyond being on hold.
What I love about Paul is that he sticks to his principles.
So did Jack the Ripper.
No, but seriously, Paul, Ed and Monica, those are dear old friends.
Faith, how can I have a real conversation with them? There's just too much hate. And not just for our president, but for everyone who supported him, all those good, hardworking Americans supporting the Fifth American Revolution. The title of my next book, by the way.
Second choice, though. Mein Kampf was already taken.
All right. The classic knee-jerk, holier than thou, East Coast liberal go-to move. Everyone who disagrees with you is a Nazi?
Oh, Paul, he's joking. Don't make it like we're fighting the Civil War all over again.
I mean, in a way, we are, except we're not fighting for states' rights this time.
We weren't fighting for states' rights the last time. We were fighting about slavery. You can look it up.
Matthew, por favor. That's just one version of American history. People like us are fighting for individual rights today, individual freedom.
Freedom! Freedom! El precio de la libertad es la eternal vigilancia.
Vigilancia, and it's eternale. But
Claro. We were all raised to be ready to fight for freedom, but somehow we've forgotten what the word freedom means. Concord and Lexington, Bunker Hill, Molly Pitcher. Why, I remember your father, Faith.
So do I. Proceed with caution.
Vinny was one of those tough Italian guys from Arthur Avenue, Candy. A Marine, fought on Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima. You know, he would have voted for our guy.
No, I don't know that. In any case, they're my people, not yours, so leave the dead out of this. Paul, you are breaking your promise.
I'm sorry, so sorry.
I need to turn over the cauliflower.
Don't turn over the cauliflower with anybody else but me.
1 minute late. No, at 2. But I'm sure it will be fine.
But her father would have.
Stop being such an
Asshole. He can't help himself. He's just a big boy out to have fun. But he's harmless, and he's such a good person. You know that.
Yo estoy un hombre sincero.
Yo soy. The verb ser is used to describe a personality trait, not estar.
So, Candy, Paul now has his own personal Spanish tutor and you? Caramba.
Actually, I keep my Spanish through my business contacts. Latin American investors love a little Spanglish, and now I have a very good reason to practice. By the way, how's your French doing?
Me no know. Ask Pippi.
That's quite the racist stereotype, Matthew. You surprised me.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just a joke thing that we used to say to each other as kids.
Is that supposed to make it less offensive to Latinos?
No. I meant, I apologize. It was...
I'm playing you out of care. It is funny. I'm not a PC girl.
Oh, Candy, stop triggering my helpless, hapless, liberal sibling. It's like teasing the animals in the zoo.
Yes, particularly the okapis.
I should go help Faith.
He exits to the kitchen. Paul follows him. Lights come up in the kitchen.
Actually, at some point I wanted to get a couple of minutes alone with you to discuss something personal, Maddie.
Your funeral arrangements? Mahogany or burnished marble?
Maddie, there's something I need to talk to you about.
Okay, but can it wait until after dessert? I think it's baked Alaska.
What's wrong? You seem so uptight.
This whole thing makes me uncomfortable.
Well, it doesn't make me uncomfortable. Not at all.
Well, that's why it does make me uncomfortable, because it should make you uncomfortable.
Matthew, not now. Not in the kitchen. Too many sharp objects.
We're just having a conversation.
We don't have conversations. We go directly from third-degree interrogation to insults to brainwashing.
Because I support our president. Hey, I didn't stop talking to you when your guy was in the White House.
You didn't talk to me. You talked at me, endlessly and apoplectically. And I wasn't part of the hate-filled movement led by your...
Cut it out, both of you.
Hate? My side filled with hate? I'm the hater? I think we need a little fact check.
Paul rushes first to the living room and then exits the house completely.
He was just trying to talk, Matthew, not 1 ounce of self-control.
He started it.
Oh, Mother Mary of God, what are you, 8?
She goes into the other room where Candy sits by herself.
Where did he go?
Outside. Not being able to express is very difficult for my Pablito Bonito.
A McCarthy brother not being able to express himself? Madonna. These two Lollapaloozas do nothing but express themselves. And your personal Lollapalooza promised not to talk about politics, period.
That was a ridiculous promise. No one would expect him to honor that.
Well, if he knew he couldn't honor it, then it wasn't a promise, was it?
Our promise is made to be broken.
Faith stares at her. Matthew enters from the kitchen looking guilty. Paul comes through the door.
Hey, what do we hear? Hate has no home here. El odio no tiene hogar aquí. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, what? No Yoruba? No Swahili? Not to mention, how will the Senegalese know that this is a safe house? The Namibians, oh, the poor Namibians always get left out in the cold, and that's just not fair.
Such bullshit. Where is this so-called racism and oppression you can talk about? It's fake problems. Manufactured.
Hate has no home here. You and your socialist comrades hate our current president, hate our vice president, hate the Senate Majority Leader.
You left out the Secretary of Commerce and the House Whip.
You know you despise half the country.
More like 42.4%. But no, we are not haters. We just don't like you.
Oh, cut the crap. You hate our guts. Hate doesn't just have a home here, little brother. It's the state religion of your precious little People's Republic of Montclair.
Paul, That's our neighbor's lawn sign. Put it back.
Hold on a sec. Why don't you have one, Maddie? Are you tacitly admitting that hate does have a home here? That el odio does tiene un hogar allí?
Aquí, Paul, not Ali. It's true, though. You must be the only ones in the neighborhood without a sign.
The supplier ran out. It's on back order.
What these signs are really saying is, I'm not welcome here, and Candy's not welcome here. Between the lines, the message is that anyone who disagrees with you, elitist, leftist, gender fluid, LGBTQ, emotionally fragile love bunnies, is a subhuman criminal.
We're fragile? How emotionally fragile is someone if a piece of cardboard delivers a death blow to his ego? Someone puts up a sign in a couple of mildly exotic foreign languages and all of a sudden the alt-right is alt-wronged?
Alt-right? You're calling me alt-right?
There is a house in New Orleans they call the rising sun. Come on. Come on. I'm going to make you shut up and sing or I'm going to die trying. And speaking of dying, Paul, if you don't put that sign back, the guy next door is going to murder us. You're twisting it and smearing it, and our neighbor's going to be very upset if that sign is damaged. Whether you like it or not, it's his property.
You have it, mi amor. I'll take care of it.
Paul, what did we talk about on the phone?
You mean the...
No. Well, that too, but I mean your promise that this would be an evening of singing and eating and drinking and then more singing. That chance. Now I feel trapped like a passenger in a car with two drunk drivers.
Doesn't feel good for me either, Faith.
Finally, common ground. We all feel like shit. Well, thanks for stopping by, Paul.
No. There is something else. Paul, tell him how you were going to offer one of your investment books to our publishing house. Let us have a bestseller for a change.
What? His book published by us?
You couldn't use a bestseller, Maddie?
Oh, the food.
Faith, what did you...
Hold on, Candy. Candy! ¿Qué pasa, Cuerita? Hey, calm down. Where are you? Candy? Candy!
Paul rushes to the door.
What happened?
What kind of neighborhood is this? She's being arrested.
Faith enters from the kitchen holding a pan. First Paul and then Matthew head out the door.
What, arrested? What do you... Madonna, a little help here, please.
Heads out to the door with the frying pan. End of Act 1. There will now be a brief 5-minute intermission and we'll be back with Act 2. Act 2. Paul and Matthew sit in chairs. They are somber. Faith comes through the outside door and closes it with a slam. Actors, tech, Faith, sound, please.
Okay, it's all sorted out. The cops are explaining it to the neighbors. Candy's in the powder room?
Putting neosporin on her handcuff bruises.
Makes sense. She is a neoconservative.
If you two start arguing politics again, I'll break that White Album over both your thick heads.
Faith goes into the kitchen. Matthew nods and then stares at Paul for a second before following Faith determinedly. The lights come up there and dim in the living room. While Faith slices prosciutto, Matthew hovers.
Did you want to say something?
Do I want to say something? Yes, I want to say a lot of things, but for now, one word will suffice. Humiliating.
Humiliating.
Yes, humiliating, degrading, debasing, embarrassing, infuriating.
With you, that one word limit never lasts very long.
Do you want one word? Okay, here it is. Humiliating. Or did I already say that?
I find that word quite useful too, actually. Humiliating, as in, it's humiliating that my husband is happy to describe our company as a small publishing house. Hi, I'm Matt. This is Faith. And we run a small publishing house. That's right, a small publishing house. Just a wee affair. In fact, it's an absolutely precise, we run a tiny publishing house. Microscopic, unicellular, America's most respected, most admired protozoan publisher.
Look, Faith, come on.
Why is that not humiliating? Or maybe we could switch it up once in a while, like we run a one step ahead of the electric company shut-off notice publishing house. Faith Vergaretti and Matthew McCarthy, sole owners and operators of a pathetic, going nowhere, run out of our tragic little garage publishing house, recently changed its name to Sisyphus and Spouse.
I know that you're frustrated because things are a little...
You do? Then why don't you do something about it? Because whenever I try to do something about it...
How would you like it if I went behind your back to negotiate a deal like this?
I would love it. Love it. Or better yet, just go ahead and kill me because I can't take this crap anymore here. Just here, be my guest.
He throws his hands up and she resumes slicing.
That's unfair.
Unfair. You know what's unfair? I never get to introduce ourselves as having a medium-sized publishing house, or God forbid, a large, successful, enormously profitable publishing house.
I'm sorry. I understand how you feel, but asking Paul for one of his...
He asked me, and I said yes, because for one fleeting moment, this glorious vision came to me of growing the business just enough that maybe, just maybe, you could hire someone else to do your scut work. And I could go out and do something that I actually want to do.
What do you actually want to do?
Well, it's unclear, but not this. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'll give singing lessons since today's choir practice is going so well.
And what do we publish after his latest brainless, faux populist, error-ridden treatise on economics? Protocols of Elders of Zion, Volume 2?
We publish a harmless investment guide for people fast approaching retirement. And that's it. So there will be nothing on your conscience. Oh God, how many ways can you find of getting your own way, Matthew? All I'm asking is for you to just talk to him.
Fine. I'll have to talk to him because obviously I've been a bad husband and a bad business partner to you all these years.
Well, you've been a bad small business partner. Get the terminology straight.
So even if it means getting down on my hands and knees and begging my insane crypto-fascist brother for help, that's what you want? That's what you want me to do?
Well, gee, now that you put it that way, yes. Yes. Go fix this mess you made.
Mess I made? You invited him. When you bring the circus to town, Tesoro, don't act surprised by all the elephant shit.
Matthew exits to the living room. The lights go with him.
How are you doing?
Undisturbed, Maddie. Unbelievable. Overreach and overreaction.
You stole the sign, Paul.
Candy didn't.
What is the cop supposed to think? Seeing her pounding the sign into the ground with her boot on the wrong neighbor's lawn.
Or, as you liberals might put it, she was guilty of being brown-skinned woman in a lily-white upper-middle-class progressive neighborhood, where your neighbor's a racist asshole. How's that for irony?
Now, here's the thing, Paul. You stole this fucking sign. You broke the law. And now you have the nerve to cry victim? How's that for irony?
How you doing in there, Matthew?
Oh, just educating my big brother.
Yeah, he's delivering his freshman lecture on irony, Faith.
Candy returns.
When did everybody start talking about irony all the time? I know it was before I was born. What is this irony?
Where to begin? I guess with the Greeks, iron. Actually a kind of character in a Greek comedy, you see?
That a Latina who is actually an honorary sheriff in Dade County gets harassed by two goober cops in his sanctuary city?
Sanctuary village.
Is it ironic that bleeding heart, lefty, sensitive, caring intellectuals turn out to be the most incredible hypocrites ever? Because while they're busy sobbing into their low-fat, shade-grown chia lattes over the part of the underprivileged, a real-life person of color gets wrongfully arrested right next door.
It's a sign of just how polarized the left is made.
Oh, so here it's okay because I am a Republican.
They didn't know that. Anyway, they're Republicans, the cops. I think that might actually be ironic.
Why?
They voted for your guy.
You're actually claiming that all cops vote Republican.
In this solar system, yes. Just like all choreographers vote Democratic.
Can someone in there please set the table?
Paul and Matthew rise and approach the fold-out table, but each of them is taking a different approach to opening it, and there is a whole rigmarole around setting it up until Candy waves them aside and flips open the leaves of the table.
At the table, worked as a waitress during high school.
Oh, so just like us, you come from a working class background.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing. I'm merely stating that, you know.
You're profiling. Being Hispanic with a solid blue-collar background, you're wondering why I'm not a liberal. Because that's what liberals, with their just add water, autopilot opinions always do. Info in, info out. Latina, working class, college educated, must be a Democrat. But que sorpresa, I'm not.
Oh, I love it. You caught my brother in a bias incident. Reckless stereotyping. Federal offense. 25 to life. Bailiff, please escort the prisoner out of the room.
Once again, I hear politics. Well, that's prohibito.
This isn't politics, Faith. It's sociology or psychology. Because once we start analyzing Maddie's deep-seated prejudices, with a little bit of luck, we might even be able to reprogram him.
Faith enters with dishes and silverware all in a basket. Candy sets the table speedily and then starts to roll napkins elaborately.
In that case, I'm expanding the ban. No sociology, no psychology, no ologies. Get it?
Just want you to be happy, Faith, darling.
Good. So, we have a few minutes. I can redo the batch that burned while I was next door being a hostage negotiator. We're lucky that cop's wife is in my Pilates class. Okay. Now we sing until we drink too much. Before we drink too much.
This land is your land. This land.
Oh, we used to sing that a lot.
Well, all right. What do you want to sing? The Russian national anthem? Let's do your new boss Putin's personal favorite. Ochechanya, ochezuchya, ochestraznya, okidokia.
This land is your land is a political song, and you said no politics.
Political? Are you kidding me?
Wasn't he a comunista, the guy who wrote that song? Some people say he meant it to be subversive. It's what some people say.
He was a communist. It's a fact. So was Pete Seeger. His mother founded the American Communist Party.
Jesus, Paul, we must have sung that song 1,000 times.
Often in front of sparse crowds of people in dingy coffee houses while we were wearing our jaunty Greek fishermen's caps and our oversized Aran Island sweaters.
I never wore a jaunty Greek fisherman's cap. Never! Say what you will of me, I am not now, nor have I ever been, jaunty.
Es la verdad, Pablo no está jaunty.
But you sang that song, huh? Singing Woody Guthrie didn't bother you back then.
Well, it bothers me now.
Why?
Because back then, I didn't realize that folk music was a linchpin in the great communist conspiracy. And the whole time, we all joked about it. The damage to our great nation was being done right before our eyes.
True, I read about it in the National Review, or maybe the American Spectator.
Your daycare center to subscribe to the National Review? Wow.
Educated me about the past.
That stuff got into the movies, TV, even the schools, moved us away from our roots.
And this was the Russians who did all this? The same Russians who helped illegally blonde win the election? Huh?
Communists, not Russians. Two different things, very different. And Maddie, there was no collusion.
So can we sing? Because I've got to get back into the kitchen. So as far as I'm concerned, it can be doleful Trans-Carpathian folk songs, but we will sing.
A vigorous knock shakes the door. All stare as Matthew opens it. Jerry, tall, gorgeous, 50-something, rushes in, spreads his arms, and kneels before Candy.
I am beside myself. Words fail me. Siento lo que ocurrido. Soy un montón de duelo.
No te preocupes, no es nada.
Oh, Dios mío. Espero que no está herida de ninguna manera. Oh, no me disculpa, por favor.
What's he saying, Candy?
Yeah, que pasa?
And he wants to know if I was hurt in any way. This man is apologizing to me in the most poetic fashion in Spanish, loving tongue. Acepto tu hermosa disculpa.
What's up with the Spanish, Jerry?
Off of one ESL class, and the next thing you know, the whole neighborhood starts living La Vida Loca. Or is it Spanish as a second language?
Let's speak English, for their sakes.
Somewhat awkward, but I'd like to introduce our neighbor Jerry to Candy and my brother Paul.
Jerry affects the air of a noble caballero, approaching Candy, taking her hand and lightly, gallantly kissing it. He then rises from his knees and shakes hands with Paul.
Where did you learn Spanish like that, Jerry? You are full of surprises.
Peace Corps, Nicaragua.
Tú hablas español como un madrieno.
Tu español es como un poema.
What did he say? I missed some of that.
I told him he speaks Spanish like a native, and he said to me, my Spanish is like a poem.
Que linda. You remind me of a line from one of my favorite poems. Por contemplar tus ojos negros que daría yo.
Ahora este carbúnculos irisados abiertos frente a Dios.
Matthew and Faith look to Paul.
You could translate that, right, Paul? Vamos, muchachos.
Looking at some black eyes, iridescent carbuncles, getting right in God's face.
Lorca.
Lorca. Well, Lorca, who was tortured and killed by the fascists? I mean, really tortured?
No using the F word today.
Well, I'm just saying, Lorca is on our team. You guys don't get Lorca. You can have Ezra Pound.
My dark eyes, dawns of iridescent garnet. Eres muy simpático, Jerry. Don't you agree, Paul?
Paul? Oh, my God. You are that Paul McCarthy? Oh, Matthew, you didn't tell me you had a famous brother. Of course, that all makes sense now. You're both in publishing.
Sort of.
Paul's been famous for so long, it sometimes slips my mind. To me, it's like being Virgil Earp, or Morgan Earp, or Jim Belushi.
You know, we watch your show on Fox Business all the time. In fact, it is the only show we watch on Fox. We've been following all your amazing investment predictions ever since that article about you came out in the journal last year.
They must have laid off the fact checker that month.
Tenio, ¿verdad?
Oh, sí, siento. That man that man can pick his stocks and his women. That's up. But what brings you all together here today?
Oh, we're just having a nice, quiet family meal and some lighthearted singing.
You sing? You never told me.
Group. They performed in those dark little coffee houses that you see in the movies, like real cool. Daddy-o.
Oh, well, I would love to stay for the concert and that food and the charming company, but I just came over to apologize. So I guess I will say adios, es con todo el amor, el te largo el olvido.
Neruda. Love is so short and forgetting so long. Very beautiful for a communist.
Neruda is also on our team. He plays left. Stop poaching.
I appreciate the apology, Jerry. Maybe next time, check things out a bit more thoroughly before you call the cops.
Well, I didn't call the cops.
Well then, who did?
My husband. Don't get me started. El pleito and the Lord de huevos.
Huevos o cojones.
Oh, yes, a pain in the ass. I mean, pardon my French.
Faith ushers him to the door.
Well, all's well that ends well. It's so nice you came over, Jerry.
You know, Archer can overreact a little, you know. Real the drama veramente.
Oh, you're just wild, Mary. He called him a drama queen. But how would your husband feel about you saying that?
Oh, well, Archer doesn't speak Spanish.
Faith still ushering him to the door.
Does your husband just sit by the window all day keeping guard over your sign?
Oh, no. But he does keep an eye out if he hears something. You know, we had some vandalism issues last Halloween. Someone urinated all over our signs. Can you imagine?
Oh, how sad for you. And for Archer. Lo siento mucho.
But your sign is okay?
Yes, I mean, it's just a sign. Though it is an original from the very first printing out in Illinois, where the precocious, albeit autistic kindergartner first came up with the idea. Archer says it's a collector's item, but I'm like, then why are we putting our precious collectibles out on the lawn?
Well, Jerry, the crisis is past.
You know, I should have known that, that none of you would ever deliberately do anything bad to our sign.
Oh.
It's just, you know, we freak out a little bit, you know, when we see strangers in the neighborhood.
Oh, it happens to us too. They come in, they walk around, they see what they like, and they just take it.
Oh, wait, who is that?
I think it's who are they? And I know we don't want to go there.
People who steal things. Los ladrones.
Oh, come on. I doubt that anyone could get past the guardhouse in your gated community anyway.
Not to mention the 19-foot wall topped by barbed wire and broken glass with 4 machine gun turrets.
You live in a gated community?
Oh, not the kind you think. The gates keep him in. You know, I'm embarrassed to admit it, but Paul had to apply for a 48-hour pass to come visit us.
Yes! The People's Undemocratic Republic of Montclair requires that those of us from the real America show our papers.
See, I'm confused. What republic?
Son fieras, estos dos. I told him you're wild.
Brothers, Jerry. Irish guys from the Bronx. Teasing is a sign of affection.
Yes, I am glad that somebody can still show some affection. I mean, because mostly this country is a mess. I mean, a hot mess. We are so divided.
And why do you think that is, Jerry?
Well, because no one can let go of old grudges. It's just like that prayer that Matthew says at Thanksgiving, except the opposite. Everyone is like, oh Lord, please don't take this grudge from me. Please make it bigger, make it 24/7, and make it angry every waking moment of the day and twice as loud in my dreams.
But no grudges for you, I assume.
I learned during a challenging adolescence to just offer them up and blow them away. Like our sign says, hate has no home here.
But what about an honest disagreement? Does that have a home here? Just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean that you hate them.
We should eat.
You just pity them, for they're sad.
What those signs end up doing is labeling people like me as being hateful and ignorant.
Truth in advertising.
Oh, I'm not labeling anybody. The sign just says that it's a safe place here.
It comes across as virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling? What on earth is that?
It's like smoke signals, only with lower carbon emissions.
It's people showing off their virtue like they show off their Priuses and their fancy oversized designer compost bins. It's not enough to show how morally superior they are unless all of us on the other side get the message that we are the scum of the earth, the deplorables.
Come on, we just thought we were putting up a nice sign, honest.
I mean, what's the medium price of a house in this town? $1 million? $1.2 million? Who exactly is unsafe here? I didn't see any oppressed people on the street.
For me, when they cuffed me.
Paul, we need to just...
We're not saying that we are oppressed. We're saying that we are fighting for the oppressed.
Oh, and how exactly do you do that, Jerry? An extra 20 in an envelope at Christmas? Leave out some leftovers when the Frito Banditos come over to clean?
Deep dives, feminine, concentrate.
Paul, that term is quite offensive.
So is the sign to people like me, which I guess is what you and or your husband intended. That's so interesting about all this is how your side requires that we obsess about people with whom we have nothing in common.
My side, we are all human beings.
Again, Jerry, you're really giving Paul the benefit of the doubt here.
Those people are not in our families, they're not in our tribes, and I'm pretty sure they're not even in this city, except when they come in to blow the leaves and cut the lawn.
And trim the poor Cynthia. This too is part of their duties.
My, this is going well.
A little help?
You know who's oppressed? The people who you insist must throw out their honored traditions and stuff them inside your color-coded recycling bins. People like us.
Gestures to Candy and himself.
Oh my God. You're one of them. You're on the dark side. God, I mean, I can't believe that we watched your show. And to think that Archer bought all of your books.
Which were not put out by a small, well-thought-of publishing house, by the way.
People want to have their signs. Let them have their stupid signs.
What sign would you like? You are now entering Unpleasantville? Or welcome to Vigilante Vista. I guess that would please
We
President.
decided not to say that word today.
What exactly can we say? What kind of sign could I put up that would convey the same message, namely that I am so much better than everybody else?
Paul seizes the White Album, pulls a pen from his pocket, and proceeds to create his own sign in Spanish.
Estoy una persona mucho mayor que tú.
Hands the album to Jerry, who gently takes the pen from him and corrects the wording.
Soy, not estoy. Common mistake.
I don't think so. Yo soy means that...
Candy shakes her head.
Look, I came over here to say I'm sorry, and I should leave before I say something else. So, somos buenos seres humanos. Eso es suficiente.
He kisses Candy's hand and walks out, studiously not slamming the door. They all look over to Candy.
We are good human beings. That's enough.
Matthew, picking up the White Album that Jerry had slammed down and addressing Faith.
Well, guess I won't be getting $2,000 for this on eBay.
By the way, in case anybody wants to know how I'm doing, that is the guy who thought he was having a heart attack an hour ago and who now has to endure the gay caballero bursting into the house, shamelessly flirting with my camarata, but...
Oh, querida, that's so nice, but I think you mean amada. Seriously, are you okay? I mean, with your heart or gas or whatever it was.
I'm okay. I've gotten used to feeling under attack.
Finishes the bottle of wine by pouring what's left into his glass.
Under attack? You've been on the offensive from the moment you walked in the door.
Hey. For 8 long years, We all had to shut up and listen to your hopey changey thing. Now it's my turn. Payback's a bitch, huh?
We shut you up? You ranted so much about how you hated the president, that is, the ex-president, that is, the person of color formerly in the White House. Harangued so crazy we thought you weren't going to have a heart attack.
Bullshit. Your people think everything is a threat to your safe space. You want the entire society to be like a quiet car. Well, screw that.
That lizard brain again on steroids.
Basta, on. Now, what will it take to get you to stop? I am not eating dinner with all this settling of scores going on.
I understand. Believe me, I know what it's like to try and eat your dinner while you're getting screamed at restaurants just because of the hat you're wearing.
Sometimes spit on with great vehemence.
I love the idea of you as a victim. Maybe you should sue for reparations. You could use the money to buy a more classy hat.
Wait a minute. Have you just forgotten I was the victim out there, just doing the right thing?
Oh, honey, don't you think there's a difference between someone making a mistake and someone making you a victim?
Jerry bursts in again, rushing straight to Paul. Matthew and Faith edge closer to intervene.
Look, that's just one thing I need to know from you, Mr. Paul McCarthy. Was the insulting behavior you just threw my way triggered by your political beliefs? Or was it flat out homophobia? Or rage at me being black? Or was it because I'm Jewish? Politics I can accept. All of my mother's people voted for that.
Faith covers his mouth again and hugs him.
A corrupt, depraved, serial sex offender, and pathological liar with thoroughly implausible hair. No names.
Jerry, why did you come back? I'm only here because I live here.
Oh, Faith, darling, I have learned to never let anti-Semitism and homophobia and cultural profiling go unanswered. Never. And I will tell you why. Because un pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
No, I don't translate Che.
That was Allende. But it's still time to get the women and children off the playing field.
Again, trying to usher Jerry out of the house.
Point of order, camarada. How would I even know that you're Jewish?
Oh, please. The two of you are from New York. You instinctively know who's Jewish, even if it's a convert like me.
Isn't that some kind of reverse bigotry, Primo?
Oh, no. It's called common knowledge, Princessa.
Well, I didn't know. I did know you were gay, but I didn't have to be from New York to figure that one out.
How very perceptive of you.
But that doesn't matter to me. I love gays. In fact, in my line of work, I much prefer them to the straight old guys. Smarter, funnier, less bullshit.
Yeah, sure. Paul, the smashing pumpkin Republican, progressive to the core.
But he does love gay people. When I first met me, Pablito, I thought he might be gay because he hung out with so many flaming old queens. And he took me to see Cher twice.
I thought you loved Cher. I swear that there is nothing personal in what I said to you, Jerry. It's purely political.
Was that an apology? Okay, I accept it, I think. I could never forgive someone for being the very quintessence of evil.
That's a sensible attitude, Jerry.
Trying to usher him out.
I love this word, quintessence. This concept does not exist in Spanish, not that I know of.
So, Paul, we agree to disagree.
Jerry extends his hand, but Paul spreads his hands.
No, we don't agree to disagree. If we agree to disagree, then what was the point of disagreeing in the first place?
Paul, I think in this climate...
Climate. A nice change of subject.
Rather than agreeing to disagree, I think that we should continue to disagree until such a time that you finally realize, as I'm sure that you will, that
you are an unbelievable asshole? I am there, camarada. I am so there.
They are poised to fight.
Paul!
Jerry,
Matthew steps between them.
Okay. Block party is over.
please. This is my house, Paul. What were you thinking?
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. No soy yo mismo. I know what it's like to have difficult, contrary relatives.
I too. I thought you guys were joking, that you were just playfully triggering each other. My bad.
Faith, I absolutely agree with you. This is your house, and I got carried away. How can I make it up to you, Jerry?
Sing. You're singers, right? So let's hear something. Sing something pretty.
Carrickfergus,
She struggles to find it among the sheet music.
our finest hour.
Oh, yes. Woo, that song rips my heart out every time I hear it. Oh, my mother was Irish. But don't you need instruments?
Instruments? Instruments? We don't need no stinking instruments.
Another impossibly crude Hispanic slur.
No, it's just something that we used to,
Something stupid you used to say as kids, but something you should stop saying now because you're not kids anymore. At least not actuarially.
It's true, Matthew. You can't use funny accents anymore, not around people who through no fault of their own were born with funny accents. It's offensive.
I can't tell if you're putting me on or not.
I know.
Ugh, I can't find the music.
Oh, we'll do it from memory. One verse.
Remember to hum and moan heavily. Act like the black and tans just blew through town. People would think you're singing Gaelic.
I wish I was in Carrickfergus, only for nights in Ballygrand.
I would swim over the deepest ocean, to be by your side.
But the sea is wide, and I cannot cross over, and neither have I the wings to fly. I wish I had a handsome boatman to ferry me over to my love and die.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jerry applauds warmly and embraces first Faith, then Matthew, and after some hesitation, Paul, who quickly pulls away.
Oh my God! What? Oh my God! What a beautiful song, Linda.
That song is who we are. It's us and it's ours.
But it's such. Oh my God! It's such a gorgeous song. Why can't it be for everyone to enjoy?
If things are for everyone, don't they end up being for no one, amigo?
Mother mia, my bad. Oh, that harmony fooled me. But wait, oh, enjoy your meal. Nobody cooks better than me. Hey, que seguir el amonio coquito.
Now I feel terrible. Terrible. Faith, why don't we just set another place and have Jerry stay for dinner?
Oh, absolutely. I'll go get some more wine.
What
More
kind
vino.
What kind of host lets the neighbor die of thirst?
Ooh, hasta siempre, comandante. Now that's Irish hospitality, which is exactly what I would expect from McCarthy.
We can't have you leaving here thinking that there's any bad blood. I didn't come here to stir up trouble with the neighbors. Am I speaking out of turn? Do we have enough food?
What was it that you said to me before, Faith? That when you were growing up, you always had strangers breaking into your house and eating your food, so you had to improvise? A falta de pan, buenos son tortas.
Oh, I love that saying. Le adoro. Repeat it to Archer constantly. Means if you run out of bread, you can still enjoy the cake. Or something like that.
Actually, That line got Marie Antoinette into a bit of trouble, but never mind.
Don't worry. We have enough bread and cake and farro salad to go around. But one thing that's not on the menu is more arguing.
Dios mío, no, trust me, I have no animus towards Jerry. In fact, your demographic group is very important right now. My people take your people very seriously as a voting bloc.
Gay, Jewish, black neighbors with Irish mothers, that's a voting bloc?
The only group Jerry belongs to is generous, kind, fabulous-looking men.
Kind and generous, de acuerdo. Beyond that, I will not go.
And Faith, that is why you're my best friend, not just on this block, but in the whole neighborhood, perhaps the planet. Point of order, Paul. Though, are you trying to convert me to your side?
Moro viejo nunca será buen cristiano. That is, a leopard cannot change its spots. It's been scientifically proven in laboratory settings.
Corino debe estar atado. You're a hybrid. Can't change? I met Archer handing out flyers for Reagan. Is that a president's name okay to say? I mean, yes, back in the day, I was a young, black log cabin Republican. Jóvenes negros por Reagan.
You certainly get around. But how do you fall in with these guys? People that have to be on the right side of every single ethnic group's grievances. If Ronnie, the great American communicator, was for anything, he was there for the average American.
Good point, Pablo. Quite excellent. And forcefully argued.
Why don't you just put on a cheerleading uniform, Candy?
I can't help it if part of Paul's incredible attraction for me is the power and passion of his political strategy.
Didn't register so highly with the first three wives.
You can't deny the fact that everything in your pious, self-involved, little northern Jersey micro-enclave is out of touch with the average American.
Average, as in your average morbidly obese opioid-using WrestleMania fan?
There you go with that classic elitist condescension toward middle Americans. Makes my point.
Wait, we are all Americans. What's so special about middle America?
It's right there in their name, middle Americans.
I'm still not following you. And what about that farro salad?
Jerry, how about if I fix you some takeout? And that way you can go home and not have to gag on the side dish of sibling obnoxiousness.
Oh. Could you include an extra serving for Archer? I mean, the farro salad, not side dish.
Let me get this straight. I'm supposed to pretend that some toothless meth head eating fried Oreos at the county fair next to his trailer park out there in East Podunk and I are the same?
No, you're not the same. That guy doesn't have cloying, sneering East Coast elitism oozing out of every pore.
Elitism? Yeah. I'm an elitist. I want the elite plumber to fix my toilet, and the elite pizza guy to make my tomato pie, and the elite nurse to draw my blood.
Elite pizza guys do not exist. Do not overstate your case.
Oh, Faith, you haven't told him about Tallulah's, sourdough pizza, farm to table, and lavender-flavored beignets?
One thing we can agree on. There's nothing elite about your guy.
Incorrect. Winners are automatically the elite. Being elected president of the United States is to be the ultimate elitist. Es una realidad. But our president confuses the opposition because he plays four-dimensional chess. He is super elite, but he has deliberately decided to not be part of your elite. And that is something that you cannot understand.
You're onto something there.
Archer plays four-dimensional chess online. Can't get enough of it.
What on earth does four-dimensional chess have to do with anything?
Instead of one board, you have four, and you designate coordinates. That could be a unicorn piece that moves like a bishop, but not like...
Pardon me, but I think that was a rhetorical question, Matthew.
Well, fine. But anyway, everyone plays four-dimensional chess these days. Now, six-dimensional chess is the standard.
Oh, Senor Sabeltoro, too bad for you know-it-alls that you aren't the elite anymore.
All the McCarthys are know-it-alls. You'll find out. Just wait until Thanksgiving. They'll tell you the best way to do everything, and they never get off the couch.
At least some of us know who we are.
But who am I, Paul? Am I the guy who, when you called in 1996, was there, huh?
He's the guy who is going to remember that we have a guest who came for a meal, not leftover brotherly feuds. So now we will eat. Candy, why don't you help me in the kitchen? I can take advantage of all that hands-on waitressing experience you accumulated before you became a consultant.
Descent exterminator.
Platinum level.
Jerry, would you mind bringing in 3 extra chairs? You know where they are. Meanwhile, Matthew and Paul will have a conversation that they both promised to have.
Faith heads to the kitchen and Candy follows her there.
Your dinner and singing party isn't turning out the way you wanted, is it? Sorry.
Faith works on arranging the platter of dishes throughout this conversation as Candy pours more bourbon.
Is that an apology? Because I do not need another apology tonight. What is it with you? Is that what they teach you in that doctoral program at the University of Miami? Just go along with every goddamn thing your boyfriend says?
Interested in maintaining a healthy relationship. What am I supposed to do? Your husband runs his mouth too. He's a real El Parachin, a chatterbox.
Well, feel free to smack him down too. If that can help us get 2 minutes without an argument, you have my blessing.
Oh, I see. You want me to tear down the patriarchy. Good luck with that. Yeah, I'm still a feminist, but in my own way.
Oh, in what way are you a feminist? Candelaria, enlighten me, please.
To be a true feminist, a woman must stop fearing men. They are not the enemy.
Oh, you think I fear those 2 bozos? Honey, you need to lighten up on that bourbon.
You seem to fear whatever they're going to say next. You want to control them, and when you can't control them, you want me to imitate. Forget it. Eliminating all those man grudges puts me on the same level as them, instead of always having to punch up. I control my life.
I see. Well, just between us feministas, that sounds like complete bullshit to me.
See? I could take that as an insult, but I won't. Taking everything as an insult is a leftist thing.
Leftist? Excuse me, but you don't know me well enough to hang those phony labels on me. I do appreciate getting along with other people. I don't think our purpose on this earth is to constantly fight or to kiss the ass of the people who do our fighting for us. People like me, we just cooperate. We go along to get along, especially the first time we visit someone's home.
Cooperating. That's code for wanting me to act like you. You sound just like my mother.
Well, I'm going to take that as a compliment. Feminismo and all that.
You should appreciate my being different from you. That way you can say you have friends who are diverse, besides Jerry. But I'm not really like anybody else. There's no box I can check on the census covering my kind. Category of 1.
And what does that have to do with cooperating?
Self-interest, rational selfishness. All the people calling for cooperation can't figure out how to get things on their own. Ever read Darwin, Survival of the Fittest?
Yes, I have read Darwin. Because being a biology teacher here in the blue state, not in some cracker creationist backwater, I had to. Descent of man, those that cared least for their comrades would perish in greater numbers. Yeah, I always enjoyed reading that to the dumbass sophomores.
It's all about survival of the fittest.
Newsflash, survivors cooperate. They always have. And you want to know why? Because if you piss off the other members of the tribe, they'll slit your throat in your sleep. And that's how life really works.
Well, that's just your opinion.
No, that's biology, Candelaria. The first molecule that could copy itself had to cooperate with some other substance to form the very first protocell. And until those things cooperated, it was all just primordial stew.
And that's cells, not people.
What the fuck do you think people are, Candy? They're stem cells, bone cells, blood cells, muscle cells, fat cells, skin cells, nerve cells.
Left out cancer cells.
Because it's cells all the way down, chica. Cooperating cells. It's biology, whether we're descent exterminators or gestato moms. Survivors are people who find a way to fit in together.
And sing corny old songs in harmony.
And sing corny old songs in harmony. Yes. Bingo. Give that gal a plush toy. Harmony was and always has been a definite win-win. And it sounds good and it feels good. And that's biology too, Candy.
I'm so hungry, the only biology I care about right now is digestion. Did you know that pythons eat more than a quarter of their body weight at one sitting? Honest. I'm trying to make conversation. Does that not score some points in the liberal rule book?
No. Now let me ask you a question. How do you know that I'm not poisoning you?
It's funny, Faith.
Oh, funny? Think again. Remember, I'm Italiana. Vegaretti. We are very capable of poisoning our unsuspecting guests. And yes, that's an ethnic stereotype, but the fucking Borgias proved that it was true.
Lights shift to the living room. Paul and Matthew sit in silence while Jerry carries in the chairs.
Oops. Did I miss the big conversation? The sibling sit down? The man tat-tat-tat?
No, not yet. Faith expects us to talk about my next book.
Require is more like it. Demand, decree.
Perhaps I can be of some assistance.
How so?
Well, when I was in Nicaragua, the Sandinistas sometimes called upon me to be a hostage negotiator and the Contras. That experience could prove helpful in this discussion.
You have no idea how true that is.
Maddie, I would have offered you the book on my own had you just asked. For Christ's sakes, Maddie, we're family. This is what families do. This is why there are clans and tribes in history, to support each other, to protect each other.
Okay, as head of a clan, you want to lead the attack on Amazon because they're the ones laying siege to our tiny embattled publishing house right now.
My side has plans for Amazon.
Now that's the Paul McCarthy we know and love in our house. Take no prisoners, Pablo. No pasaron.
Pasaran with an A.
Everybody says my next book is going to be huge because of the TV tie-in.
Come on, pay attention, Matthew. Oportunidad, knocking right on the puerto.
And I can steer other books your way, Maddie.
What kind of other books?
We can talk about it later. For now, I think we're good.
Faith and Candy enter from the kitchen, the former burdened with several plates, the latter carrying the corkscrew.
Ah, good. Maddie's wine. We need it for a toast. The McCarthy brothers have a new publishing venture. My latest best-selling book.
You finally talked about something other than politics. Congratulations. Congratulations. Cooperation, you see? There's still hope for the species.
But seriously, Paul, what kind of other books? I'm agreeing to this. I don't even know what your book is about.
The book's an investment primer, harmless stuff. No politics. The Paul McCarthy boot camp. 30 days to a richer you.
Catchy. And the other books? Hope it's not that waiting for the rapture, here comes the apocalypse, white supremacist stuff that you've been peddling lately.
It's not white supremacist, Jerry. They're spiritual books for thoughtful churchgoers.
Right. Just because their churches happen to be filled with white people doesn't mean that they're white supremacists. Just like when black churches are filled with nothing but black people, no one accuses them of being black supremacists.
I can see that you've studied both Descartes and Leibniz, with a little bit of Montesquieu thrown in.
So, Maddie, sounds like you do watch my show.
I also watch YouTube videos of massively unsuccessful heart transplants. But back to the other books. Abductions by radical socialist aliens? Hmm? The anti-vaxxer workout manual?
Matthew, what are you doing?
Oh, Matty often doesn't know what he's doing, but on to this feast we've all been waiting for. And some more of that wine.
Sounds good to me. Hey, you know what? Maybe I should call Archer. He positively adores familismo and feral salad. To scoop him a momento.
Yeah, invite him over, Jerry. I'm sure he'd want to discuss Paul's earlier books, the non-fictional ones, the futurist volumes. What was it that you predicted in 2008? Blood in the Streets? Martial law?
Why do we need to talk about this now?
Starving. Is it okay if we help ourselves?
Predictions are very difficult. Someone smarter than me once said that.
Especially predictions about the future.
Oh, but yours were very special. Civil War breaking out. Never happened. Concentration camps for conservatives. Never happened. Black helicopters everywhere. Never happened. Oh, and then there was that Kenya connection.
Oh, for the love of Christ, not Kenya again?
I would love to go to Kenya. It's supposed to be very beautiful with many, many wildebeests and cheetahs.
Oh, not many wildebeest. That's more over in Botswana land. Lots of zebras, though. Oh, hang on, Arch. Hang on. I'll get back to you in a second.
Those forecasts were based on extremely credible sources. Anyway, nobody bats 1,000 on Wall Street. And what about your prognostication skills? You never made a prediction that turned out to be incorrect?
That's the point, Paul. I know every time I've fucked up, but I'm man enough to admit it.
Every time? Does this count as one of those times? Let's just change the subject.
What was that part about Kenya?
Well, probably before you met.
Are you a birther, Paul? Oh my God, you were kidding, right? You were just trolling him? I think you're upset because he kind of owns you, Maddie.
Oh, he owns me, does he, Chica?
Okay, can we just take things down a couple of notches here?
Please say you're not a birther, Paul. Oh, it would break Archie's heart. I mean, if you were, his corazon would be muerto.
But everybody knows that was all that birth certificate stuff was just a way of triggering liberals, part of our grand strategy.
Ah, so being a racist is part of the grand strategy. Nice of you to admit it.
Now we know we're behind socialist lines, Poppy.
Oh, get over here. It is that Paul McCarthy.
Always playing the race card. Mom never told you, Maddie? You were born white. Born white. And guess what? It's nothing to be ashamed of either.
Besides, it's what he naturally buys to some extent, Maddie. Isn't that simple biology, Faith?
Candelaria, you're not family, so please don't call me Maddie.
Don't start with candy, Maddie. Bad idea.
Oh, both of you stop, please. This is the final warning.
But I thought we could talk about anything in this new age, not so?
Sure. Let's do that, Maddie. But do you really want to bring up racism in front of Jerry? Given the racist things that came out of your mouth over the years just to show us all how funny you were?
Oh, I want to hear the díame, Pablito, díame.
Me saying racist things?
Well, the N-word.
What the hell does that mean?
You said that word lots of times. Don't deny it.
Never.
You sang it. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Too little.
Don't you dare.
Oh, I don't know what the dessert is.
Are you ashamed? Oh, yes. Let's sing that classic. Boom, 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 boom. I see your hiney. Boom, 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 boom. So black and shiny. Boom, 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 boom. But when it well, wait a minute. But that's not how it starts, does it? Can you remember the beginning? Because we all sang that song.
Singing a silly song as a kid is not the same thing as race baiting by the con man in chief.
But you admit that you sang it. In fact, looking back on things, that might have been the start of our singing career. Boom, 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 boom.
It's not funny, Paul. Don't. Please, don't.
To
Don't.
the niggers.
Well, Matthew
No.
rushes Paul, but Jerry comes between them, throwing both to the floor. Paul rises up only to collapse with another attack. Matthew, on his knees, holds his back in pain. Candy hurries to Paul, who rolls away, and she sniffs the air before tending to him. Faith stares down at Matthew while Jerry stands guard.
No, nunca. And in Spanish, that's what I said, nunca. The good time was had by all? Oh, bueno. Now get out, all of you, pronto.
Hey, what did I do?
You went along to get along, Carita, and I know all about going along to get along. You know, maybe I'll write a book for our small publishing house called What I Did for the Fucking McCarthys. It's a mystery, one of those cliffhangers where the girl goes missing for 30 years. But now you can all go missing. Go along with Paul right out, Candelaria, right out that door, and keep your goddamn hands off people's signs, because this time the cops will come and lock up your hot little libertarian ass.
Hey, you're blaming me, but I did exactly what you wanted. Gave you the book, saved the publishing house, and I never said either of the names I wasn't supposed to say.
Oh, right. You mean Trump? Is that it? Was that the name? Was that the forbidden name? No, you didn't say it. Not once. Now I did. Trump. Deliberately. Trump. There it is. There you have it. Obama. Trump. I'm not even sure how much either of them matter in all of this. They're just the latest excuses for you two to argue, to see who's smarter, who can sing the higher note, who can be so right and never wrong. Well, I am no longer amazed or even amused. And I hate the fact that I ever was.
I apologize. I do. How about this? We'll have dinner in silence, or we'll stay and we'll sing. So sorry. And to you too, Jerry.
Jamada, el preto equivocado.
Barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, we'll sing and make up. Sorry, Paul.
Different songs, por favor.
Sing? Oh, no. Choir practice is over. You've made your point, Paul. You've proved that Maddie's a hypocrite. Bravo! Well played. You win. Now get out. Goodbye. Forever. Goodbye, Paul. Goodbye, Candelaria. Get out of my house and don't ever come back.
Faith.
Oh, and by the way, you think you know how my father would have voted? Well, I have no idea. He didn't talk very much, but I do know what he would have said after tonight, after listening to you two. Mi fa cagare. You need a translation, Carino? It makes me shit.
I am terribly sorry.
Oh,
I just wanted to help, but Maddie pushes my
Hang on a
buttons.
second.
you know what? The most amazing thing is how both of you guys always forgive yourselves. Instant, on the spot absolution before anyone else can weigh in or bring charges. Well, it's over. For me, at least. For you two fools, it'll probably go on until you croak or suffer gas pains. Go!
Faith, he is apologizing.
Oh, you have no say in this, oh solo mio. Neither of you do. You're banished, so vanish. Just goodbye. Goodbye.
He's still Maddie's brother.
Don't call me Maddie.
I agree. Matthew is not a Maddie. Ugh, and for that matter, I am not a Jerry.
Okay, good. Then they're brothers. And when we marry these guys, we end up marrying the entire family. But today, I'm going to enforce an official and irreversible separation here. I am exhausted. I've had it. We're done.
This was your idea.
This?
She swings her arms to indicate the entire scene, then flings a plate of breadsticks into the air.
Yo, what, this? This? No, this was not my idea. My idea was to get the trio together for one festive night of singing. That's all I wanted. Well, we're not a trio anymore. Once upon a time never comes again.
Faith, come on. But
You got a problem? Then will you just go with him then? Good riddance. But no, I didn't think so. Tesoro, you don't have it in you. Jerry, you stay and invite Archer.
Sir, un placer. Me reina.
Look, people, it's late and I'm starving. Everything in the area will be closed. What are we supposed to eat?
Me no know. Go ask Pepe.
Uh-oh.
I can't believe you're saying that.
Oh, yes, you can. Of course you can. Because there's nothing beyond belief anymore. Nothing. And that's the truth. Es la realidad.
Faith grabs the farro salad platter, swinging it just out of Candy's reach. Cradling it, she picks up a piece of prosciutto and eats it lingeringly, sensually. The others stand immobile. The lights dim as she backs into the kitchen singing.
Vaya con Dios, muchachos. Vaya con Dios.
End of play. Thank you very much for attending this afternoon's Zoom reading of Grudges by T.J. Elliott and Joe Queenan, presented by the Knowledge Workings Theater Company. For those of you interested, we've just enabled the chat function so that you can write your reactions and ask questions of Joe, TJ, and the cast while we're all still here. Also, feel free to comment later on Twitter. Just post your own account and mention @TheaterWorkings. Alternately, you can send us an email at knowledgeworkings@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram @KnowledgeWorkingsTheater. Now, in the absence of seeing your faces and hearing your reactions, which is a key part of the theatrical experience, we'd love to know what you think and feel about this work and its performance by our fine cast. Joe and TJ are also especially eager to hear from directors, producers, literary managers, actors, tech people, social media experts, and interns who are interested in helping to build this company. We are dedicated to presenting theater in any way possible. So with that, we will now turn on the chat channel, give you a few seconds or a couple of minutes to enter any questions, and I'd like to invite the cast, TJ and Joe, back to the arena.
Thanks,
Actually,
Ed.
I will turn it over to you, TJ and Joe.
I just want to thank everybody for coming, and thank a wonderful cast here. We're seeing some lovely comments here, and I hope you can read them. But people I've known for 50 years and people I don't know at all, offering some terrific comments, especially about the cast and the work that's been done, and people thanking you for giving them a wonderful night at the theater. So if you can't read them, Ed can read some of them to you, I think. Ed, can you do that?
Yeah, we'll start from the top. Electric counterpart, nice. Can I invite someone else? No, it's too late now. Oh my God, what a great ending to the first act. Love the reading. Applause, applause, applause. Bravo, this is terrific. Very interesting and provocative. Kudos to all. Applause from overseas. That's actually one nice thing about this forum, that anyone can join anywhere. In fact, my mom's on from Florida. Great job, everyone. Clap, clap, clap. Wish we could stay. This is a masterworks, astounding. And really lots of comments like this. I love this beyond. Fantastic. As someone from Montclair, I found it appropriately frustrating. I love Faith. I live in Trumpland, northern rural California. Great wit and sarcasm. What a wonderful night at the theater. Brilliant work, engaging, such great performances. Applause. Great seeing where this went. I have to leave now. I will follow up with TJ later. That's from Christopher Romero. It was a powerful, relevant. Hope your play goes to McCarter Theater one day. And here, one last one. Having lived in Montclair for 35 years, I found this content and actors' interpretation neighborly.
Dennis, thank you.
Very professional presentation, with fluidity and passion, fine stage management.
Oh, thank you. So, Ed, last night you kicked off with a couple of questions, starting with the cast there. Maybe you can do that again, and
sure.
Those can join us.
Sure. So the question last night to the cast was, I mean, this is obviously an unusual forum to be holding a reading, staged or memorized. And the question to the actors was, how did it feel actually working with each other and performing in this venue?
I'll say something. Obviously, this is like super bizarre. I think that everyone who is watching probably has had a similar experience in a work meeting, but to try to do a play in what is, I said this last night, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself, but to do a play in what's considered a close-up for screen is a very interesting contrast. Like trying to reach people far away. And something that John said last night that I thought was very appropriate was that this is the only time I've ever had to act and watch myself, or try to not watch myself while acting, which is a whole, if you thought you were good at acting before, I mean, you don't think that you're
I just find it odd that these guys I have never met.
Yeah.
Except for Jim. So the only person on the screen I have ever met in person is Jim.
And that's true in part for all of us. I've not met Andre in person. I've not met John in person. I feel like I know John really well. I've not met Ed in person. I have met Joe Queenan in person.
Maybe I want to be skeptic and not cynic. For me, the experience, I couldn't really call it theater, because to me, theater is a communal event. So I was talking to a friend last night, and the best I could describe it is like, well, we're kind of in the Stone Age of developing a new form of theater and trying to tell stories this way. But we've never dealt with the technology for it. Zoom wasn't set up to do it. Like, for those who didn't know, there was supposed to be harmony, but you can't sing simultaneously because the camera goes to the first voice it hears, and it goes all over. So a lot of this was a learning curve. But I do think until it can become a communal experience where we're together under the same roof, in the same room, experiencing it, it's a new frontier. And for what Jasmine said, it is very odd to be staring yourself in the face for 2 hours and pretending you're talking to a lot of other people. You get tired of your own face quick. I do.
Here's a question for the playwrights, which I think is interesting. The play at times had visions of hope, but ended with what appeared to be a loss of hope. Is there no hope?
Joe?
No.
Put too fine a point on it.
Joe, can you talk a little bit about we were corresponding with each other this morning, and I had sent you something, somebody had sent me there about is this play about the brothers? Is this play about America? I think people will be interested in the stuff we've gone back and forth on regarding that.
Yeah, I think when people collaborate on things, for a while they think they're working on the same project, and then eventually they realize that they're not. So from the very beginning, the structure of the play was the two brothers, the feuding brothers. And that to me was a mechanism for writing about America. TJ comes from a family, TJ has 4 brothers and 1 sister. I have no brothers, so I have no idea what it's like to have sibling rivalry between brothers, because when you have 3 sisters, you're the prince. So my sisters always treated me great. I've never had sharp words with my sisters, so I had no idea what any of this. I mean, I knew about brothers not getting along, but it didn't mean anything to me. My interest was, this was about America is being ripped apart basically by people like Paul. but you know,
And Matthew.
but basically by Paul. And then Faith is just trying to have a quiet evening. And ever since Trump was elected, all I thought about was, wouldn't it be nice to have one quiet evening without this guy wrecking everything? So to me, that's what the play was about. And the brother stuff was fine. But
And I think, you know, plays are about a lot of different things there. But I want to answer that question as well, is that I don't know whether there's hope or not there. Maybe there's hope, you know, if the Faiths and the Jerrys of the world, you know, are able to get more. Maybe there's hope if they're as strong as they are to say, look, we're not going to stand for this anymore. I mean, I know people who are in organizations like that who are trying to bring people together. There is one other quick question I want to say here. Yes, Faith Vergaretti is a tribute to my late friend and St. Peter's Prep classmate, Dave Vergaretti. Absolutely. Dave, much too soon, died last May after I'd gotten together with him for the first time in decades there. And so when I wrote this play, I wanted to use his name because he was a great guy and a very funny guy.
My condolences, TJ, on your loss.
Oh, thanks.
And I didn't know that until this moment. Is it all right if I say one thing about is there hope? Because I think it's a really interesting question. I hadn't considered the play in that aspect before, but now being asked that, I almost think that this play is it's a little Chekhovian. It's a little like Chekhov in its essence, because it's like, why do they never go to Moscow? Like, the sisters talk the whole play about wanting to go to Moscow, and they never go to Moscow. And I wonder if people see this play and think about the fact that, like, even though Paul and I's characters are right-wing, right? Our left-wing characters are using racial stereotyping and those kind of prejudices that run deep on both sides. And I think that as long as the Republican characters can be portrayed as whole people, then it shows that there's an issue on both sides, not just on one side. Speaking as I feel the need to say that I'm a liberal now for some reason.
But you know, given what you just said, there's an interesting comment. Can you see Herman von Lent's comment still, Ed? Maybe you can read that.
Yeah, I was wondering how the writers see the role of Candy. I got the idea that it was a generation gap reflection where the younger generation, in their logic and articulation of opinions, are at a complete different wavelength, and so hope is about switching wavelengths.
to me,
Yeah.
Candy was a comic character who thought that the two older guys were clowns, and she just thinks, whether she was Hispanic, black, white, she just thinks that the whole folk singing thing is just appalling to her, which it is appalling to me as well. So a lot of that channels through her. But I think so much of it is, it's just like Candy is just going to use Paul for as long as she can. But my favorite line that Candy has is at the end when she says, "Different songs though, por favor." That's the way I feel about all folk music, was stop forever. Just don't sing it anymore. And I like Candy's exasperation, but also the fact that Candy and Jerry aren't like the other players. So that makes it not monochromatic. And when Jerry comes in, it gets uproarious because Candy and Jerry are going back and forth in this weird Spanish. And then Paul's Duolingo level Spanish has been completely marginalized.
Yeah.
So, but I think Candy and Jerry, to me, are just funny. They're not like the central. They're not the central characters in the story, but they keep it going because they're funny.
And I think there's that, and I think that to Herben's thing, and Herben, by the way, is joining us from the Netherlands this evening. Herben, your point is well taken, because I think Candy doesn't, and I never said this to Jasmine, I don't think Candy has these grudges. I mean, Candy doesn't know what they're talking about. Dukakis, who's Dukakis? She doesn't remember Willie Horton, and she probably wouldn't care if she did. And to Joe's point, Jerry to me was a really important character because he didn't exist at the beginning, and it was Joe's idea who said we should have the neighbor come in. And then I worked at first on Jerry, and then we continued. Once the idea of the neighbor coming in, then well, who is the neighbor and what's going on there? And Jerry's really important in this play because but not only is he funny, as Joe said, but he has this great line where he says, I'm not saying I hate you. I'm just saying this is a safe place to be. And I find that important to say. And I'm not sure anybody, or not anybody, I'm not sure either of the brothers can agree with that. So Jerry says things that I don't think either of the brothers can fully agree with. Maybe Faith can agree with them, but not those brothers.
And something that's very interesting about writing a play collaboratively, where one person is doing a lot of the structuring of the play and providing the kind of philosophical underpinnings of it, and one person is putting in a lot of jokes. And when we were writing the play, there's not always an agreement about what the characters, what the central, there would be points where it would be, no, Paul wouldn't say that. No, that's not the sort of thing that Matthew would say. So we had to change some of the book titles, things like that. But in other cases, there were like whole areas where, yeah, that speech that when Candy and Faith are going at it in the kitchen, I didn't really have very much input into that. I put in a couple, I think I might have put in the thing about the python. Whereas with Matthew constantly sniping, that to me was really fun to write for Matthew, because as a friend of mine, my best friend said last night, he's like a Borscht Belt comedian. It's like Eddie Youngman. It's just boom, one joke after the other, after the other, after the other. But constantly with the thing of like, never mind, don't pay any attention to me. That to me that's really funny. And when we were writing, it would be like, yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Write a joke, make it funny. And then the other thing would be, oh yeah, now we got to do the science stuff. And my daughter texted me. My daughter is a scientist. My daughter has a PhD in neuroscience. And one of the running jokes in our life is, you don't know anything about science, Dad. And she texted me when the science stuff started towards the end, because it's like, I know you didn't write that, Dad.
Well, St. Peter's Prep, served me well. I know we're getting close to the end of the time here, and I can see folks are having to drop off. Is there a question that we have Science for the Win by Bridget there? Is there anything else anybody wants to say? What I want to say, this is the second play that Joe and I have done together, and it's just an enormous treat to be able to do this at this point and get things up. And this cast is just wonderful. And you worked so well. Joe was saying last night, it's like everybody always got along so well in this cast here. And I want to give special shout out to Ed, who added so much to this. And actually, until Ed said, I'm available to read the stage directions, I never even thought about that aspect. I'd been to readings where that goes on. No one's ever done the job that Ed has done here. So last comment
was all mine.
Last comments from anyone? Lynn, we haven't heard a word from you.
Well, I could, a lot of it has already been said, but one of the things I truly miss is the audience, because you're doing this for the audience, and so you feel that rapport, and you just kind of miss it because you feel like you're in a vacuum, and also not being able to really look into the other actors' eyes and really relate to them is.
But one thing that I have enjoyed about this very much, because I was going to suggest that we should have a laugh track that would just be me and PJ the whole time laughing. And one of the things that I have enjoyed is when you do a play 4 nights, like we did last year, one night, everybody's laughing. The next night, not so much. The next night, everybody's laughing. The next night, not so much. Well, doing it in this format, TJ and I could just sit here and laugh all the time and go, oh, that was really funny. I thought that was great. That was great.
Andre.
I second that.
Who was the guy who used to do that? Floyd, who wore the crazy hat, had one person out in the studio laughing?
Right. That's right.
Soupy Sales.
Cam Miller, by the way, up from upstate New York there. Cam, thank you so much, Val. I just want to read this. As someone who's trying to produce worship for a faith community, Cam is up in Geneva, New York there during this time. I want to suggest that there is or can be community in this format. This is not 1952 television. It is more interactive. It is also likely the near future. And I you know, as a comment that might get us towards closing there, it sure is looking that way.
Wow.
Hmm.
See everybody at the cast party?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much.
We could all go to Wisconsin and put this play on tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
And then we can go down to Florida, you know, to the beach.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And see some Seminole sunsets. Thank you again, everyone. Cast, I will send you a meeting invite for this week for our debrief. God bless you all.
Great.
Everybody stay safe. Good luck and good health.
Stay
Slancha
safe.
wa.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.